Today I want to talk about a rhythmic framework for flamenco, which consists of a 12-beat cycle. And this 12-beat cycle that I'm going to talk about today is common for 3 different rhythms in the flamenco music. We could properly talk about these rhythms as a family of rhythms. And this is the soleares, the alegrias, and the bulerías. They all have this same 12-beat cyclical framework. The main difference being that the 3 different rhythms or types of flamenco are played at different speeds, with the soleares being the slowest and the bulerías being the fastest. I'll talk about the alegrias and the bulerías later on in this series. Today I want to talk about the soleares, and I'll show you a representation of this cyclical framework. It looks much like a old-fashioned analog clock with 12 hours on the face of the clock, and you can see that the accents are asymmetrically distributed over the 12 beats. We have a accent at the 3rd beat, the 6th beat, the 8th, the 10th, and the 12th. So it sounds something like this, counted: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Clapped, it would sound something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This type of representation of the cyclical framework is perhaps not absolutely true to fact, because it makes it look rather flat and even. In actuality, the soleares has a structure that resembles a wave. This is maybe impressionistic psychoacoustic representation of the dynamics of the soleares. And you'll see here that there is a rise in dynamics from the 1 to the 3. 1, 2, 3, and then it levels off for a while. 4, 5, 6, and then there's a sort of a fall towards the 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then we have another rise in energy and dynamics up to a new 3, and then it levels off again. And then from the 7, we have a fall again back to the 12. And this is repeated again and again, this type of dynamic wave structure over the course of a soleares. This is especially evident when accompanying a singer or a dancer. This is not maybe so evident in solo guitar performances of the soleares. But this is a type of dynamic structure that the singer and the dancer will look for when the guitarist is accompanying them in the singing or the dancing. I will give a demonstration of how this sounds now played on the guitar. I'll count while I'm strumming so that you see how the chords and the chord changes and the different rasgueados fit in the 12-beat cycle that I was talking about for the Soleares. We'll have noticed that the example that I just played ended on beat number 10, and that is quite common, almost standard for the Soleares, that it ends on the 10th beat of this 12-beat cycle. My guitar teacher in Madrid many years ago, Triguito, he used to count the Soleares as 1 to 10, and then 1, 2, and then he would start another 10 count. So it was like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Which is obviously the way he conceived of the Soleares cycle. And as I say, it's typical for it to end on the 10th beat. You will also have noticed that I use very common standard chords, E major, and then a type of F, where you leave the B and E strings open. And there's a lot of hammering on. You hammer on from the E to the F while doing the rasgueado. Some pulling on and off here when you go to the F. This is typical for flamenco guitar playing, that you have a lot of hammering on and pulling at the strings. This is probably why most guitars play with a capo on the first or second fret, because the strings are then lower and easier to pull and to hammer on.